Section 1. The Gathering Storm. An unfolding energy emergency. Cuba now stands on the brink of a severe energy crisis. Recent changes have dramatically reduced vital fuel imports. This creates a risk of a national emergency. Key services that people depend on every day could soon stop. Widespread, prolonged blackouts are a real and growing possibility. This situation did not develop overnight. Long-term dependencies and recent geopolitical shifts converge. The island is bracing for hardship that could test its resilience. The immediate trigger is the near-total suspension of Venezuelan oil shipments. The lifeline is drying up, exposing the profound vulnerability at the heart of the Cuban state, its deep-seated dependency on oil. This reliance isn't a recent development, but a structural reality decades in the making, a foundation that is now crumbling under immense pressure. To understand the severity of the current crisis, one must first grasp the island's near-total dependence on imported oil. This isn't just about fuel for cars, it's the lifeblood of the entire nation, from generating electricity to producing food. For over a century, Cuba's economy and infrastructure were built around foreign fuel. This pattern was cemented during the Soviet era, when subsidized oil fueled industrialization. After the USSR's collapse, the system was reconfigured, but the fundamental reliance on external energy sources remained unchanged. While Cuba does produce some of its own oil, domestic crude is limited. It is also a heavy, high-sulfur variety, which is difficult and costly to refine. As a result, it is suitable for use in only a few specially adapted power plants and cannot easily be converted into gasoline or diesel. This geological reality means the vast majority of the island's lighter, more versatile fuel must be brought from overseas, a constant and expensive necessity. For years, Venezuela was the indispensable supplier. Under the Petro-Caribe Agreement, a political and economic pact, Caracas provided Havana with preferential financing for oil in exchange for Cuban services, primarily tens of thousands of medical professionals. At the peak of this alliance, shipments neared 100,000 barrels per day, covering the bulk of Cuba's energy needs and creating a period of relative stability. That oil kept the lights on, public buses running, and factories producing. It powered everything from hospitals and water pumps to the agricultural machinery needed for the harvest. But as Venezuela's own political and economic turmoil crippled its oil output, that vital flow slowed to a trickle. Simultaneously, intensified U.S. sanctions specifically targeted companies and vessels involved in shipping oil to Cuba, further complicating any potential deliveries. Energy experts put Cuba's bare minimum survival level demand near 100,000 barrels per day, the same amount it once reliably received from Venezuela. This is the volume needed just to maintain essential services and prevent a total economic collapse. Today, total imports from all sources, including allies like Russia and Mexico, struggle to reach even half of that critical threshold. This staggering deficit is the mathematical core of the island's rolling emergency. Powering the nation, what runs on imported fuel. Aging thermoelectric plants burn heavy fuel oil for baseload power. When fuel is scarce, rolling blackouts follow. Diesel generators bridge outages, if there's fuel. Transportation is the second major consumer: buses, trucks, and trains. Without fuel, logistics break down. Food security, commerce, and mobility all take a hit. Agriculture relies on diesel and electricity for field work and irrigation. Water systems need power and diesel to move water to homes and hospitals. Hospitals require constant electricity. Generators are useless without diesel. Emergency services can't respond with empty tanks. The immediate toll of shortages. Widespread, lengthy blackouts have returned. Apagones. Outages stretch 8, 12, even more hours outside Havana. Power loss upends work, school, and family routines. Refrigerators fail, food spoils. Cooking and cooling become daily challenges. Evenings in darkness make learning and normal life hard. Uncertainty breeds stress and fatigue. Power cuts stop water pumps. Taps run dry for hours or days. Hauling and storing water adds physical burden and sanitation risk. Digital darkness isolates families and blocks vital information. Fuel shortages have crippled public transport. Buses run on thin schedules. Crowds wait for buses that may never arrive. Many turn to colectivos or hitchhiking. The commute becomes exhausting and costly in time. Supply chains seize up. Fresh food rots. Urban markets grow emptier. Digital rationing alerts drivers where limited fuel is available. A dollarized black market spikes prices. Owning a car becomes a burden. Rudimentary transport returns, resilient but less efficient. A systemic failure chokes the economy's arteries. Cuba's celebrated healthcare system is exceptionally vulnerable to the energy crisis. Surgery, diagnostics, and life support require stable power. Backups exist, but reliability hinges on diesel deliveries. Extended blackouts put patient lives at direct risk. Medicines must stay within precise temperatures to remain effective. Unpredictable outages threaten hospitals, clinics, and warehouses. Spoilage would be catastrophic amid existing medical shortages. Ambulances need fuel to reach emergencies and move rural patients. Patients miss critical treatments. Staff also struggle to reach work. Power cuts affect water, undermining basic hygiene. Public health risks rise as clean water access falters. Cuba faces very few short-term solutions. Spot market buys are constrained by dire finances, inefficiency, sanctions, low reserves, and limited credit block deals. Sellers demand upfront payment or solid guarantees. Large-scale purchases remain elusive. Mexico and Russia sent sporadic shipments, insufficient to fill the gap. Stopgaps offer days or weeks, not stability. Cuba needs a consistent, reliable supplier. None has stepped forward. Renewables hold promise, especially solar and wind. Scaling requires capital, technology, and time. Years, not weeks. For now, drastic rationing prioritizes hospitals, water, and food transport. The official reports and economic data paint a grim picture, but they can't fully capture the lived reality of this crisis. Beyond the statistics of megawatts and fuel deficits, this is a story of daily human struggle, resilience, and adaptation playing out in homes and on streets across the nation. The burden falls heaviest on ordinary families, who find their daily routines dictated by an unpredictable power grid. Every aspect of life, from preserving food to ensuring children's safety and comfort, has become a monumental challenge. For those who can afford it, a generator offers a temporary reprieve, but it comes at a high cost. Life becomes a constant calculation of the next blackout, the price of diesel, and how to stretch dwindling resources to meet the most basic needs. This constant uncertainty breeds a pervasive anxiety. The stress is palpable on the street, in the strained conversations between neighbors, and in the endless lines for transport, food, and fuel that have become a fixture of urban life. Elena, a teacher from Santa Clara, shares her family's reality. On a good day, she says, we get maybe 4 hours of electricity. It's never at the same time, so we can't plan anything. When the power flickers on, her home bursts into a flurry of activity. She cooks a big meal to last the day, knowing they will eat it cold later. It's a race against the clock before the darkness and silence return. Her children do their homework in the dark, their textbooks illuminated by a single flame. Even candles, once a simple household item, are now a costly expense that must be rationed. This daily struggle fosters a widespread sense that progress has not just stalled, but reversed. Many feel like they are moving backward in time, forced to live with the same deprivations their grandparents endured decades ago. The economic heart of the community is failing. Private businesses, unable to cope with erratic power and soaring operational costs, struggle to stay open. As a result, personal savings vanish and jobs disappear. pushing more families toward poverty. In this climate of scarcity, the fabric of society frays. The instinct for competition often replaces community solidarity, and tensions flare in queues as patience wears thin. A new, painful social divide is emerging. Access to foreign currency creates a visible and growing inequality, fueling resentment between those who can afford imported goods and those who cannot. This two-tiered system deepens the nation's fractures. Cuba has arrived at a critical crossroads, a moment of decision forced by an energy crisis that has paralyzed the nation. The island's historical reliance on foreign benefactors for its energy needs, first the Soviet Union and more recently Venezuela, has created a vulnerability that is now fully exposed. This is not a temporary shock, but a systemic crisis. It's a fundamental breakdown of the energy infrastructure, where aging power plants and a severe lack of fuel have converged. The consequences ripple through every sector, crippling transportation, shuttering businesses, and plunging homes into darkness for hours, sometimes days, on end. In the face of this challenge, several near-term scenarios are emerging, each carrying profound and lasting implications for Cuba's economy, its society, and its place in the world. Path 1 is the most familiar: secure a new energy benefactor. This strategy involves seeking a new international partner willing to supply oil on preferential terms. A leading candidate is Russia, or perhaps Mexico, but any deal would likely come with significant political or economic concessions for a stable supply. In this scenario, stability returns to the grid, but the underlying issue of dependency persists, leaving Cuba vulnerable to the next geopolitical shift. Path 2 is a far grimmer continuation of the present: protracted rationing and economic contraction. This would mean formalizing a survival economy, with widespread scheduled blackouts and a near-total collapse of public transport. The government would be forced to manage scarcity, a path that risks heightened social unrest and potential humanitarian crises as frustration mounts. Essential services like health systems would operate under sustained, almost unbearable strain, relying on patchwork solutions to keep the lights on. The third and most transformative path involves significant internal reform, accelerated by the very crisis it seeks to solve. This would require creating a regulatory environment designed to attract substantial foreign investment, especially in the dilapidated energy sector. The government would need to aggressively pursue renewables, leveraging the island's abundant solar and wind resources with the help of international partners. A key step would be to open the electricity generation market to private and foreign firms, breaking the state monopoly to foster competition and efficiency. While politically challenging, this path offers the promise of a more resilient, modern, and self-sufficient energy system, but it requires immense political will. Seek a new patron, enforce deeper austerity, or embrace fundamental reform. These are the stark choices, and the decision made will ripple across the island for years to come. For millions of Cubans, the future hangs in the balance, defined by this uncertainty. The era of easy, subsidized energy is definitively over. Now comes the difficult navigation through the dark. At PulsePointNews, we will continue to follow the unfolding of this story. Subscribe to PulsePointNews for independent and in-depth global reporting. Support real journalism by liking, sharing this video. Join the conversation, for your voice matters. Because in a world of sensationalist headlines and misinformation, the truth needs space.